everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Proud Skill Worker. Today, we have an outstanding opportunity to interview Louis Bandy. He's a site superintendent currently in Ohio, working on a vast majority of projects. So, Louis, go ahead, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Louis Bandy. I'm originally from New Mexico. I travel the entire country for SkillWorks. I own my own construction company, and I've done everything from agricultural building to home building to retail remodels. 4 lovely kids, wife, you name it. I got a full life.
Pretty great life. Definitely pretty great life. 4 kids, wife, construction company, traveling the country. Well, I mean, how did you get into trades, Louis? Like, how did you get into being in the trades?
Well, out of high school, I thought, you know what, I've got to do something. And construction was probably the best paying job at the time. That was a few years ago. I knew a guy that had a concrete construction company and needed some help. So I was like, I got to do this, and started out as a laborer, sweeping up, carrying forms, just the normal. Work your way up.
Got to start somewhere, right?
Right, exactly. Asked a lot of questions, kept my mouth shut, eyes open, ears open, learned exactly what I needed to do to get to that next level, which, would be setting forms, and then just went on from there, learned how to frame, and it was great. Don't ever regret it. Not for a minute.
It's good. I think, you've talked a lot about some of the points that we actually have some questions today from other skilled workers who are in the field, individuals who reached out to us with questions. So I'm going to deep dive into a lot of what you just said with their questions, because I think they're going to want some answers to how you got through that.
Sure.
But I'm curious to know, Louis, what was the biggest challenge for you in your career as you advanced through? What was the biggest thing that you found challenging?
Well, when I was young, it was because of my age. A lot of people don't want to give you that shot because, he's too young. He doesn't know enough yet. Or, you don't have the responsibility for that yet. You got to prove yourself every day. Showing up early, getting there, doing the job, doing more than what they ask for. So
that's great. Yeah, I think, getting into that, I mean, especially as you just talked about, hiring young and then the challenges of getting management to notice your skills and stuff. So we're going to jump right into some of these questions. Our first question comes from Damon B. And he says, why does it seem like you have to know somebody that knows somebody to get started?
That's a good question. A lot of that is true, especially in the trades anymore. Maybe not so much as it used to be, but knowing the right person that can actually mentor you in that process is probably the greatest thing. Yes, you can start not knowing somebody, but if you know somebody, they can definitely help you and get you going in the right direction. Unfortunately, that's the way I got into it. So it was meeting the right person and using my brain to make sure that I took everything in. So,
do you think it's more important to know somebody to get into the industry, or know somebody and associate with somebody who will help you really grow in the industry?
Actually, I think it's better to know somebody and grow in that industry. If you know somebody, sometimes friendships can get strained if you're going in that direction. But yeah, find that person, latch on to them, learn everything you can, keep continuing to broaden your knowledge base, talking to other folks out on the site, learning everything that you can to grow your knowledge base, your skill set.
I think that leads perfectly into like our next question here is from Kyle G. And he says, how do you get management to notice your skills?
First and foremost, don't screw up, because they will notice you then, and that's not what you want. But do a good job. Right. Be there early. Stay late. Ask questions. Continually ask questions. That's the biggest thing if I can impart nothing else, ask questions. You can't learn if you're not asking questions. When I mentor somebody on a site, It's always the only stupid question is the one you didn't ask me. I would rather answer hours of questions instead of having to tell somebody to do something over and over again. Ask me the questions. Always ask questions.
do you think it's more important to have those hard skills, like to be able to like the actual trade skills, or do you think those soft skills of being able to ask questions and approach people and learn from people are just as important? There's this huge divide in people who have the knowledge and then people who want the knowledge, but it doesn't feel like they know how to get it. So I'm trying to understand, like, what's the most important aspect of developing that? Is it having some aptitude to grow into that, or just having some willingness to kind of lay yourself out and go, I don't know, but I need you to teach me?
Right. I think it's got to be a little bit of both, honestly. You have to have some mechanical aptitude. The trades will eat you alive if you don't, but it's also that willingness to learn, try new things, even after 20 plus years of being in the trades. I can always learn something new. And it's by watching, listening, learning. I'm telling you, I mean, I'm 50-year-old guy that learns something new every day. Somebody that's half my age most of the time. It's all about having the aptitude, mechanical aptitude, and then just learning by watching, asking questions. It's got to go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think as we move forward, then Dylan A has a question about how do you stay striving? How do you stay dedicated and wanting to learn in jobs that feel like they're dead ends, like that you just feel stuck in? What do you look for in order to stay striving in those roles?
Well, no job is a dead end. That's a mindset. You can always strive to be better. There may not be a position now. It may seem like there's no other place for you to go. But again, just concentrating on growing your skill set. Keep your nose to the grindstone, for lack of better analogy. Good things happen to people that show up. There's been times that I've had jobs where I thought, man, I'm going to be pushing this broom for the rest of my life. And then, framer gets sick, quits, whatever. You move up in there. You start learning that part of the trade. Just showing up is part of it. I mean, there's no dead end jobs, just dead end mindset.
As a site superintendent, I mean, I know you deal with this at times. You probably have people who work for you now who feel like they're in a dead end role. What's your encouragement to them? Like, what do you tell them? Hey, it's only for a season. You're going to how do you communicate with those guys that what they're doing matters and the next step is coming?
If somebody will show up and take the initiative to learn, you got to take them under your wing and say, look, I didn't become a site supervisor overnight. It took me many, 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 many years to get where I am. I mean, I was a foreman and I swept and built forms, laborer, just keep coming to work. Keep trying your best, doing your best work. Don't try, just do. And it'll happen, honestly. If you keep learning your trade, whatever it be it plumbing, be it electrical, what have you, keep coming to work. People notice that. I notice that. That's the biggest thing. If you come to work and work every day, I have no problem getting you to that next level. Supervisors, foremen, supervisors, site supervisors, project managers, they all notice that kind of thing.
Yeah, previously we had an individual on the podcast whose life acronym was SHAPE. And so the S is just show up. Like, that's the hardest thing you have to do is show up. And it's interesting to me, like, how consistent that theme is through maintenance fields, through the construction field, and from a site supervisor all the way down to a maintenance team, is everybody just wants you to show up so they can help you grow.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It leads into our next question is that, and this is from Mark H, and it's kind of a combined question is why does it feel like people don't want to do manual labor anymore? And why does it feel like the trades are eating their young? Like, the people who come in, like, why does it feel like they're getting spit out before they can grow? So it's a two-part question, but I definitely think there's a lot of merit to what we're talking about here.
Yeah. First part of your question there is, I believe in this country, everybody's been taught that, if you don't have a college education, you're nothing. The trades, as we all know, are paying better than a lot of college graduates are making now. It's just starting out. Mm-hmm. So they've been bad-mouthed for so long. It's that whole blue collar versus white collar. I've got the bluest white collar there is. I'm right there in the middle. So the trades have been demonized for so long. He's a plumber. He's just an electrician, just a carpenter. Without the plumbers, electricians, carpenters, maintenance guys, things don't get built. Things don't keep running, and it's time that we start really developing kids in high school, start pushing them towards trade. College isn't for everybody. We know that. Mm-hmm. Trades, not for everybody. But if you have that aptitude, I think it's great. I mean, I talk to young men and women all the time. Just, let them know this is a good life. You make good money. Good money as some doctors. It's one of those things. And now the second part of your question, you want to review that again with me?
Yeah, it was, why does it feel like the trades eat their young a little bit? Like, why does it feel like they either push people out or people fail to like grow in it? Or maybe that's just perception.
I think a little bit of it is perception. Today's mindset is not what it used to be. Everybody wants something right now, right now. Unfortunately, in trades, you've got to learn. You're not going to school all the time. So you've got to learn every day. It takes a little longer than sitting in a classroom for 6 or 8 hours a day. Unfortunately, you don't have a focused time to teach a skill, this skill, this skill. Mm-hmm. You're getting all the skills thrown at you as you go. That's got to soak in. And, sometimes I think that's part of the reason that people feel the way they do now. They eat their young. And there's also those guys out there, us old folks, that like to give the younger crowd, a ration, if you will. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something that I want to hit on is college isn't for everybody, but we spent every bit of almost 3 decades telling people they had to have a college degree to succeed.
Right. Agreed.
And then the last 2 to 5 years, we've started to say, oh, no, you don't, back out of that. But we're talking a generational educational shift in how we talk to our kids and how we talk to our schools and how we educate people on their career path. So this problem isn't going to be fixed overnight, Louis. And I think you know that. But I just want to say, like, you can't preach something for 30 years that everybody needs a degree and then the next day say, oh, no, you don't, and expect people to just get on board with that. This is a problem that was generated over decades, and it's going to take time to fix it. And it's definitely going to take time to grow it, and patience and understanding that, even for older guys like you, maybe with the junior guys, maybe we just don't give them as hard a time, and maybe the younger guys get a little tougher skin. I think there's probably both sides of that coin.
Exactly.
And I'm not, but I think there's something to be learned from both ends of this, that it's not perfect because we created this system, but we can fix the system if we're all willing to do what we have to.
Right, exactly. I couldn't agree more. We all have to do our part. Again, like you said, the old guys, we need to lay off the young guys. And the young guys get a little tougher skin. Yeah, but we do have to start changing that mindset that the only way is college or the only way is trades. There's some place where we can meet in the middle there.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other cool things you said that I don't want to get breezed over, but I do want to highlight that factually it's very true. So I don't want people to think this is just an off the cuff, is there are site superintendents and there are individuals in the trades right now who make as much or more than doctors who go to school for 8 years.
It's true.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that statement. The facts back that up. And quite frankly, if your goal in life is to be financially sound, the trades is an excellent opportunity for you, and it's available right now. It's not available in 10 years.
Right, exactly. And you don't have that student debt.
That's right. I'm curious to know, Louis, you had mentioned college degrees, and as a site super, I know that some individuals do have a degree and some don't. Do you have your degree?
I do, in business.
You do? Okay. Did you get that right out of high school, or have you gotten that over time just to grow your skill set?
Yeah. Okay. Just trying to grow my skill set. So
what led you to decide that you wanted to add that into your toolbox? So you have all these skills and training and OJT, and then you said, well, I want a degree in there too.
Right. Well, I think that it was partially because I wanted to plan for the future when my body wasn't what it used to be, when I wasn't such a young strapping stud, but part of it just wanted to grow. Of course, I did it at night and weekends and every other thing. It took me longer than most. But
definitely, if you want it, you have to sacrifice for it. There's only so much time in a day. We all get 24 hours. How are you spending your time?
Right, exactly. Got to grow. I could have just as well went and got an electrical degree, but I just weighed the options, and a business degree, you can't go wrong.
That's right.
Obviously, I use it every day.
So last question we have here is from Brandon A., and he says, what can I do to find myself in new and challenging situations on the job site or at work?
New and challenging. That's a good question. Depending on what trade you're in, again, it's asking, hey, you guys are building X. Can I get in here and watch you and help you? And it's putting yourself out there to get the knowledge. I don't know too many guys that don't want to teach the young people, the younger generations, something. Jump in there, ask questions, volunteer, stay late.
Right.
Come in early.
So I appreciate that, Louis. I think that in this part of the show, what I typically do is I open the floor to you. And if you could just say one thing to everybody in your industry, this is your 30-second soapbox or 5 minutes, however long it takes you, to just say, here's what you should be doing. What would that thing be, Louis? What is that?
Well, I'm a man of few words, as you well know. My thing would be show up, learn everything you can. Don't ever think that you know everything that there is to know about your trade, your skill, whatever. There's always room for improvement. Improve yourself daily. Learn something new every day. Again, show up, stay late. Nobody owes you a paycheck. Go out there and earn it. Honestly,
Great.
That's if I had nothing else, nobody owes you a paycheck. Get out there and earn it.
That's great. It's huge. Thank you, Louis, for being on the show. And everybody, thank you so much for listening to The Proud Skill Worker. Please subscribe. We put out new content every 2 weeks. We continue to have guests. We continue to encourage individuals to reach out to us. We're willing to host anybody on the show. We'll go through a battery of questions. We'll have these open conversations with anybody and everybody who wants to reach out and be a part of this. Thank you so much. Please support us across the platforms, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go to the website at skillwork.com if you want to learn more and be more a part of this. Everybody, thank you so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.